What's up, everybody? Let's Talk Jets Radio. Hope everybody's doing well, enjoying their Victory Monday. I got to give a huge thank you to the Jets. I don't do this often, but today was School Spirit Day in my school, and the last thing I wanted to do was break out Rangers gear or Knicks gear before it's even hockey or basketball season. Definitely wasn't wearing any of my Mets stuff with the Yankees having their playoff game tomorrow, but it feels nice to be able to put on some Jet shit and go to work with your head held high, being able to talk about a victory. It's been so long since we've been able to do that, at least a victory that we've all wanted, not a victory that ruined a tank or ruined a draft pick or anything like that. And more than anything else, something that I almost completely forgot how it felt, being at a home game where you actually wanted to win and you get to see everybody jumping around, and I know there wasn't a lot of people there. I know you guys saw how miserable I was sitting in that half-empty stadium at halftime, and, even during the early portions of the third quarter, I wanted to leave. I did not want to be there. There was nothing fun about being at that game for about the first 40 or so minutes, and luckily enough, Zach Wilson turned it on in the second half. He just lit it up. I think at one point he was like 8 of 11 for a $171. The deep balls to Crowder and Davis. Keelan Cole was stepping up as well. I think he had actually the other deep ball. So it was just good seeing that, good seeing him run around making some plays. I don't know how much of it was LaFleur versus Wilson kind of doing his own thing. Got to go back, pull an Adam Gase and watch the film a little bit. But it was just nice to see some highlights. It was nice to see offense. It was nice to see touchdowns. It was nice to see our young quarterback actually looking like he's gaining confidence. He was showing you some ability. He's got a lot to work with. And, I said in my last video, is it all there? By no means. No, it is not. There's a lot of, little things that he still has to do, a lot of little things he's got to clean up. Some of the basic throws with, guys wide open, the short and intermediate routes. I think he can definitely clean up a lot of that stuff, improve the accuracy a little bit. But the big time plays where he was improvising, I think it was more, improvising than it was LaFleur really designing some of those things. But when he was rolling out and he was using his mobility and, directing guys around the field, that was really fun to watch. And so hopefully, the offense in general can just kind of build upon that. The offensive line did, I think, a decent job yesterday. There weren't as many of those busts that, we've been seeing the past couple weeks. And then defensively, you give this defense credit again, and it's 4 straight weeks now. I think I need to start giving them a little bit more credit too. Granted, towards the end of the game, I was pretty pissed off that they couldn't get that stop to close it out. I did think that was kind of a weak pass interference call on 4th down, but still, you give them so much credit. 7 sacks. Quinnen Williams, he had 2. His brother was all over the field. I think he finished with about 12 tackles plus a sack. I think C.J. Mosley had 13 tackles, another sack. Bryce Huff had a sack and a half. Franklin Myers, he was getting in there. So you start thinking, it's like, damn, if we had Carl Lawson with this group, imagine what they could possibly be. Imagine if we went into the offseason and our only focus was on adding a cornerback on defense, and we can kind of just, feel good about what we have with Mosley and Quinnen and maybe even Marcus May. Who knows if he's a part of that going forward. But it was just nice to see some pressure on the quarterback, some quarterback hits. I still think the guys on the back end, eventually they're going to get tested a little bit more. But, for the guys that they were going up against, Bryce Hall, he did a great job. I think he had 3 pass deflections. I know Isaiah Dunn, he got in there at one point, had a nice breakup. So it's good to see that. Those are the young players that I think we all expected a lot of growing pains from, a lot of rookie mistakes. But on the job, those young DBs getting that kind of experience is huge. And so you kind of expect more of the ups and downs with them, less of it so with, the wide receivers and the offensive line. So it was just good to see everybody kind of clean their shit up during the week and, just kind of get to a point where we can start to feel good about the people in charge. I said it all week, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. All I wanted was a little something to believe in. It didn't have to be a lot. It didn't even have to be a win. Just give me a little something from a coaching standpoint, from a quarterback standpoint, from a play calling standpoint, to just have a little confidence that we're heading in the right direction. To make sure that the message is getting through, that these players are all in, they're buying into the message that you're selling. And, the first 3 weeks, it was very hard to ignore just how bad the team had been, just how bad some of the losses had been. You only put up 20 points in 3 games. You can combine play calling with, receivers dropping balls and, bad communication on the O-line and, some misfires from Wilson. It was kind of everything going wrong. Whereas yesterday, Wilson, he stepped up, he made some things happen. Hopefully when you go back and watch the tape, I was pretty out of it during the game at points. Hopefully, there's going to be some things that we can look at, that LaFleur actually designed, as far as getting guys open, scheming guys open, what we talked about all off season. And even Michael Carter, I think he showed you some things. I enjoyed the Sweet Chin music celebration on the touchdown. But more than anything, I think it was huge to have Crowder back as that security blanket. I think he definitely opens things up for a lot of guys. You wonder, what kind of role Elijah Moore is going to have once he returns to the picture. And of course, Denzel Mims, I think he had about 10 snaps, didn't get targeted once. I think we all kind of, expected that. And it's a shame too, again, he's a second round pick. The kid does have some talent, but it's also hard to ignore, Keelan Cole, he had a great game, and Crowder's not going anywhere. So, at least not until the end of the year. So it's very hard to figure out where and how Denzel Mims is going to fit into the picture going forward here. But for today, for tonight, once we're live, tomorrow taking calls, it's going to be nice to have a week where we can just relax. We can focus on the positives. We can focus on the guys that were making progress. We could talk about some highlight plays. We could talk about some touchdowns. Feels good to be back in that state of mind. Feels good to be, or felt good to be, at a game where you weren't rooting for losses. And at the end, you genuinely got a little bit of that excitement back that reminded you why you're a season ticket holder. Not that, I still regret it for the most part because, chances are once we get to November, we're probably not going to be playing for anything. But like I said, I'm not going to bring the negativity this week. It brought back those memories for sure of why you decided to become a season ticket holder, why you invest your time, I should say, going to the games and talking about this team so much. Because when it's right, when it's going well, when the team's actually good, there's not many better feelings out there than just being at a game where the stadium can take over, can get loud. You're feeling like you're a part of it. You feel like you have a 12th man that can make a difference. And when that's going well, it feels fucking awesome. And Ed was doing his thing. He was getting defense chants going yesterday. He was trying to get those that were in the building riled up. And, I think the people that did show up, those are the diehards. Like, nobody that was there yesterday can be classified as anything but a true diehard fan of this team, unless you were somebody that, just had tickets and you had nothing else to do on a beautiful Sunday. If you were out there yesterday supporting them, you deserve some credit, and especially the ones that were getting loud, that were trying to bring it in the fourth quarter. I do think that made a little bit of an impact, and it would be really nice to have that going forward. I'm not going to lie. And I think we also saw how creating that energy can happen, right? When you're sacking the quarterback, you're hitting the quarterback, when you have big-time plays to make on a third down where you can get a stop, or, Zach Wilson hits a deep ball and the crowd just fucking goes insane. When you have those things going on, it makes it a lot easier, I think, for the crowd to get into it. And it had been so long since we got to see a crowd like that, where they enjoyed themselves at the end of the game, right? There was pure enjoyment. I know you couldn't see it too much in the video I posted with the missed field goal at the end, but once Bullock missed that shit wide left, once that happened, just, everybody going crazy, jumping around, like that's part of what I live for. It's the stadium environment, it's the fans going crazy. It's not so much, about the wins and the team being good. It's just about, being around people that, you love, your friends, your family, and being able to enjoy those moments. So it was nice to have that back. Hopefully it can continue going forward. Talk to you guys later. Go Jets.